So here's another question for you guys, that I got you guys, and I think I think you might find this uniquely interesting because I haven't talked about this too much. It's as I was curious if you always felt a close connection to Jeshua in this life, or if that happened more after the regression. It's it's an interesting story because when I was a child, I had a imaginary friend, and I remember my imaginary friend, and I called him Jimmy Garden, and when I think back now, I think it was Jeshua himself, and I think that's who was talking to me back then. Meanwhile, when I was a child, I had out-of-body experiences. I had angelic experiences all the time. I had very unique things going on. But did I have a connection to Jeshua as a child? My mother was aghast one day when she walked out in the backyard and saw my G.I. Joe crucified up on a cross, and I even had INRI, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews, as a sign above his head. Right, I had the whole thing. I was very much. He was crucified and on a cross. I remember a morning where my father got very angry at me because I said to my mother, well, our name means son of David, which is what they called Jeshua at the time. And my father was very mad because he thought I was saying that I was somebody else's son. I never, as a child, I never understood the cadaver on the cross in front of the church. I never understood it because it didn't sit well for me. So as I grew up and my hormones kicked in and I started going down that route, some interesting things happened. But the one that really stands out to me is when I was about 19 years old, long before my regression. I think my regression, I was close to 30 when that happened. I may have told this story in another video. I walked into a convenience store and the cashier gave me $5 too much change. And as I walked out, I'm looking at the money and I'm realizing that he gave me $5 too much change. And I turned around, I walked back inside and said, excuse me, you gave me $5 too much change. And he goes, oh my God, thank you so much. My drawer would have been off. But then the next guy in line says, well, there's something you don't see every day, an honest person. And he said that, and I felt this rush of energy through my body. And I was like, thank you. And I walked out, and I'm still feeling this huge rush of energy as I'm walking across the parking lot towards my car. And I recognized the feeling, and I said out loud, Jesus, is that you? And then I felt it flare up even bigger. And I knew it was him. I knew at 19 years old that was Jeshua right there. Had no clue about my connections at that time. And I just knew it was him. And the interesting thing was, in that moment, experiencing that feeling, I stopped being racist. I stopped being homophobic. I became a very different person from that moment to the next. And I think it's flat out because he reminded me of love, and unconditional love, without those judgments, without those fears, without those anxieties. And I think that by the time the regressions and all came around, I was very much prepared for that. So, I definitely had a connection beforehand. I just didn't necessarily know I didn't. So I hope that answers your question. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.